Anyway, I don't feel much better tonight, but you know, the big story today was Keith Olbermann putting his foot in his stinking mouth. I don't know what the hell's wrong with him, except that I know that he's a raving misogynist, and a prime example of this was way back in 2008 when Hillary Clinton was running for the Democratic nomination, and of course she lost to Barack Obama. And it says here in the archives at CJR, the Columbia Journalism Review, this is getting ridiculous. On Wednesday night's countdown, Keith Olbermann and Howard Fineman, discussing Hillary Clinton's continued presence in the Democratic nominating contest, conducted the following exchange. Fineman: what is this going to require? Is some adult somewhere in the Democratic Party to step in and stop this thing like a referee in a fight that could go on for 30 rounds? That's what's going on? Or going on. Those are super delegates who are going to have to really decide this. Olbermann: right. Somebody could take her into a room and only he comes out. This is the kind of shit that has dogged Olbermann for many years. He's a misogynist piece of crap. Even though I agree with a lot of what he says, when it comes to women, he can't handle it, okay? So he got the crap knocked out of him today. That was back in 2008. Thought I'd bring that up. But he got the crap knocked out of him today over Riley Gaines. And he's been bitching about Riley Gaines because he supports male cheaters in women's sports, right? They're just so aggrieved. They're just so oppressed. They're beating women all over the goddamn place because they're men. They're fucking cheats. And you know, it makes you wonder, what in the hell? But anyway, New York Post, of course, it's right-leaning. It noted that Keith Olbermann is ripped after saying Riley Gaines sucked at swimming. Of course, she didn't suck at swimming. She lost to, or she didn't actually lose. She tied with a man. That goddamn fraud, 6'4" fraud, liar, Will Liar Thomas, okay? And then when she tied with him, she got robbed of her justifiable trophy because of, oh, I don't know. I'm shaking here because I'm not, I'm kind of holding the tripod a little bit. Because it looked better photo optics, I guess, for the QT crowd to have a man with a woman's award instead of giving it to the woman who deserved it, right? Well, anyway, Olbermann's been bitching about her for days and days and days, weeks and weeks. And this loser who can't seem to keep a job anywhere, he called on Riley Gaines to acknowledge that she was a terrible athlete in a post receiving backlash. He deserves everything and more, okay? This is not the hill for anybody on the political left or liberals to die on. It's just not. They're not worth it. This crap is not worth it. Anyway, Olbermann wrote, "Can you just address the reality and move on and move past it?" Olbermann wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter. "You sucked at swimming. That's why you lost." And it's over here too. Or no, not over here. It's over here. And anyway, Riley came up with a pretty good response showing her medals and her various awards to show that she didn't suck at swimming, but noted that he was unable to hold a job. And Olbermann has never held a job for very long. So he joined CNN in 1981, then in a short stint in 1984 for the Boston station WCVB. He relocated to Los Angeles, where he spent the next 5 years working as a radio sports broadcaster. Okay, and then he his audience widened in 1992 when he worked in ESPN Sports Center, and he lasted 5 years there. So he could hold a job if he wants to. And then he became host of his own newscast, The Big Show with Keith Olbermann at MSNBC. He left the network there. And in 1998, he joined Fox News Net as anchor of the weekly sportscast, The Keith Olbermann Show. But in 2001, he was fired. And then Olbermann spent the next 2 years working as a sportscaster for the ABC radio network. And then he returned to MSNBC with Countdown. And then 4 years later, he became the co-host of the weekly football night in America at NBC. He left after the 2009-10 season. And then he was suspended by MSNBC when it was revealed he'd made political donations without securing approval to do so. And then he stepped down in 2011. And then he just bounced here and there. Current TV terminated his contract. Then he began hosting Olbermann on ESPN2. And then that show ended in 2015. And then he moved on to GQ, where he had the closer with Keith Olbermann. And that was kind of a short-term thing. And he was only on that for a couple of years. And then he had a whole bunch of different variety of roles for ESPN. But, you know, he couldn't hold a job to save his life. And now he's got a podcast. And he's got a lot of damn nerve calling Riley Gaines basically a loser. So he's getting raked over the coals over this thing. And he needs to be called out because he can't. The misogyny's got to stop with this guy. And probably a little bit of narcissism here. I mean, it's just totally dismissive. It's typical of a lot of men. They just don't think anything women do is serious. But this damn crap of male cheaters in women's sports is a big deal. And so Keith needs to get on with the plan. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Bye.